Good morning, children. Subject Social Science, Class 10th, History. Chapter name Print, Culture and the Modern World. And now start. The first printed books. The earliest kind of print technology was developed in China, Japan and Korea. From 594 AD onwards, books in China were printed by rubbing paper against the inked surface of wood block. And accordion book was Chinese traditional book. Chinese traditional book is accordion book. And the Shanghai became the hub of new print culture. So, firstly, the print culture was developed in China, then Japan and then Korea. And now we will read about print in Japan. Buddhist missionaries from China introduced hand printing technology into Japan around 768 to 770 AD. And the Diamond Sutra is oldest Japanese book which was printed. The medieval Japan, different types of cheap books were evidently found. And the print comes to in Europe. Marco Polo returned to Italy and brought the technology of wood block printing from China. For centuries, silk, spices, paper from China followed in Europe through the Silk Route. When the growing demands of books, woodblock printing gradually became more popular. By the early 15th century, woodblock printing were used in Europe. In the 1430s, John Gutenberg first developed the printing press, and the first book printed by John Gutenberg was Bible. The print revolution and its impact. Now the print revolution and its impact. What are the impacts of the print revolution? The first impact is religious debates. Innovation of printing culture created the possibilities of wide circulation of ideas and introduced a new world of debate. And the second is religious reforms. In religious debates, there are some authors, monarchs and writers. These all are feared that if there was no control, then rebellion ideas might spread. And the religious reforms. Martin Luther, you all know about Martin Luther. In 1517, Martin Luther wrote 5 theses criticizing many of the practices and rules and rituals of the Roman Catholic Church. His writing led to the beginning of the Protestant Reformation. In the 16th century, Menocchio and Erasmus are Catholic reformers expressed a deep anxiety about printing. And now the reading mania, new forms of literature, almanacs, penny chapbooks, bibliolithic glue were the famous books. These all are the books. These are the new forms of literature. About literature. Books. Famous. These all are the famous chapbooks of France. And the discoveries of Isaac Newton and the writing of Thomas Paine and the Voltaire and Rousseau were widely printed and read. And now I explain you how the print culture come in India India and the world of print. In ancient time, India had a very rich and ancient tradition of handwritten manuscripts in Sanskrit, Arabic, Persian, as well in various vernacular languages. These manuscripts were copied on palm leaves and handmade paper and had to be handled carefully. When print comes to India, the first printing press came to Goa with the Portuguese. Firstly, Portuguese came to Goa and the Portuguese missionaries in the mid-19th century take first printing press in India. And the secondly, Catholic priest printed the first Tamil book. Catholic priest printed the first Tamil book in 1579. First Tamil book in 1579 in Cochin. And the first Malayalam book in 1710. And the fifth point is James Augustus Hickey added the Bengal Gazette. Fifth, the first Bengali newspaper was published by Gangadhar Bhattacharya. Sixth, the Raja Ram Mohan Roy published Samvad Kaumudi. And next, Raj Sundari Devi wrote Aman Ziban. And some other were Tarabai Shinde, Pandita Ramabai, Begum Rokeya Shakhawat are also writes their books by printing. And the next, Jyotiba Phule, B.R. Ambedkar and Naikar, they all wrote about the casteism. And the Kashi Baba wrote Chote aur Bade ka Sawal. These all the printing, when printing come in India, these all the books which are published by Indian press. And the next is last, the printing after the revolt of 1857. Press, after the revolt of 1857, the attitude to freedom of press changed. The attitude of the freedom was changed. In 1878, the Vernacular Press Act was passed, which provided the government with extensive rights to censor reports and the Vernacular Press Act. British imposed the Vernacular Press Act, and despite government repressive measures, many newspapers grew in all parts of the India. The newspaper Kesari, wrote by Bal Gangadhar Tilak about the Punjab Revolutionary. In this newspaper, Bal Gangadhar Tilak wrote about the Punjab Revolutionary. And now that is the chapter and all about that chapter and the notes given you properly by page numbers. Write down in your copies and learn it. Thank you.